Ravens flock, what's going on? I'm here a few days later after we just got the victory against the almost almost called them San Diego, the Los Angeles Chargers. We beat them 20-10. We advanced to 9-3, and they're gonna fall to 4-7. I mean, mathematically they're not eliminated, but at this point, their season, I mean, it's pretty much over. Like their quarterback and their head coach are under a lot of fire right now, so it is what it is. We got the job done, even though there are parts of this game that kind of concerned me and concerned a lot of people. But this is also low key. I think this is also another example of why we should absolutely strive to keep the number one seed. That way, we could keep everything going through the bank. Because we just, for whatever reason, we are just way more effective at home than on the road this season so far, which isn't a unique thing. That's most teams in the NFL, low key. But still, on the road, we're averaging about 30. I mean, at home, we're averaging about 30 points per game, whereas on the road, we're averaging 21.8. So, like, we're clearly doing better in front of the home crowd. So I definitely want to keep that number one seed. Right now, we're tied with the Dolphins, Chiefs, and the Jaguars in the AFC. But still, again, I think we could absolutely win out for the rest of the year and the playoffs. All of these teams in the AFC and the NFC, all of these teams have been looking shaky. I actually think I'm going to do a video about that in a couple days, just kind of talking about the simple reason why the Ravens are clearly the best team in the entire NFL and the scariest, despite our imperfections. But as far as the game itself, Lamar was definitely right in that post game interview. The defense deserved the game ball. They won that game. The offense was like highly disappointing and had some things that kind of concerned me. At the end of the day, as far as some bright spots, Bateman, Isaiah Likely, and OBJ, they got off to really good starts, and I don't know why. I don't know if it was Todd Munkin or if it was just Lamar just going rogue or whatever. But it felt like the rest of the game they just completely ignored them. I don't know why exactly. Like I don't know. Again, I haven't seen any of like that all 22 footage or anything like that. So maybe from a different angle, it would give better perspective on what happened. Maybe the Chargers secondary started to really tighten up on them or tighten up around like short yardage situations to try to stop us from getting the ball out quick. I'm not really sure. What I am sure of is it was definitely disappointing to kind of see them not find a way to get them the ball the rest of the game. We're still force feeding Zay these screen passes, which was really frustrated. I would rather us try to do like I did like towards the end of that game where Zay got to do the jet sweep. I do think if you're gonna try your hardest to get the ball in Zay's hands as much as they have been, I definitely think jet sweeps are a better option to go with. We saw how effective. Well, I'm not gonna say effective, but we saw how it was reasonably effective last year with Devin Duvernay. Obviously, Zay is a better player than Devin Duvernay, so I think jet sweeps probably would be the way to go from here on out. I doubt Todd Monken is going to do that though. I think for whatever reason, he is just dead set on doing these freaking screen passes, even though they fail 95% of the time. But it is what it is. I was still excited to go back to Bateman real quick. Well, actually, as far as OBJ, it makes sense why we really didn't see him feature the rest of the game because I guess I'm assuming he might have re-aggravated whatever was bothering him like in his shoulder or something like that. So that actually makes sense. But still, it was just frustrating to kind of see us not try to, you know, again, I don't know if it was Munkin or Lamar, but it was frustrating to see us not try to go back to the guys who got off to the best start. Isaiah Likely, watching him, obviously we all are fans of Isaiah. We all think he has a lot of potential. I don't think he's gonna replace Mark long term, obviously, but he's still a great number two tight end. He's definitely fun to watch. He's he bounces off of defenders more than Mark does. The way Zay, you know, throws his body around, it almost seems cartoonish watching him like he's avoiding tackles and like doing these front flip spins and cartwheeling out of bounds, and it like it looks so over the top, but at the same time, it's his style though. So you gotta respect that he has his own style. Some people are saying he's faster than Mark. I disagree with that. I think a lot of people underestimate just how fast Mark Andrews is. And the best example is like when you go back and you watch the playoff game a few months ago where Sam Hubbard made Tyler Huntley fumble at the goal line and he ran back 99 yards. When you watch Mark Andrews try his hardest to chase him down, I don't think Isaiah has ever ran that fast. But again, I'm not really sure. We've never seen them race. But I think really what separates Isaiah likely from Mark Andrews is just how quick he is in short space. It's crazy how effortless he makes people just miss on the he makes people miss on the first tackle like it's nothing every single time. Like he could just sidestep people with zero problems. I think it's almost like comparing, and some of y'all might think I'm reaching, but I think it's almost like comparing Zay Flowers to Hollywood. Like Hollywood is, if you're talking just straight line speed, Hollywood is much faster, much faster than Zay Flowers. But again, that's not what makes Zay so special. What makes Zay so special is because on top of the fact that he is fast or fast enough, again, like Isaiah Likely, like he's so quick in short space. He's so shifty and quick. Like they call him the joystick for a reason. So I definitely I would it's a shame that at least for the rest of this regular season, we're not gonna be able to see Bateman and Likely on the field at the same time to kind of see that dynamic. But even if they were still playing, I don't think Monkey was gonna focus on trying to feature them at the same time because we really didn't see them that much together when when Mark was playing before he got hurt. But but there was still just so many head scratching moments on offense. This O line is so suspect. Ronnie Stanley is a major liability at this point. And going into next year's draft, I mean, we gotta look into whether it's free agency or a trade or just again just drafting. We have to look into replacing Ronnie Stanley at this point. Like I'm officially off the Ronnie Stanley bandwagon until further notice. Like I've tried to be so patient for so long, and I've tried to wait for so long because of how good he was at his best. But he keeps on top of getting injured so much, he just keeps going out there and looks worse and worse and worse. And it's just a major liability at this point. Like Khalil Mack was going crazy on him. Like that was a big reason why that I believe that game became so much of a hassle offensively. We essentially just our offense stalled out for essentially like 3.5 quarters. And I do believe a big part of that is because the O line is just struggled. Now, to be fair, Khalil Mack is a good edge rusher, and also this Chargers teams is extremely desperate right now for a win to stay in playoff contention. And then on top of that, Brandon Staley, who's supposed to be a defensive minded coach, he's under fire. So it could have been just a perfect storm of those three things that was giving them all extra motivation to dial it up as high as possible. But it's still not exciting to see things play out like that. You know what I mean? And then there was just questionable calls by Monkey. Like I said, like we didn't really look to Likely or Bateman in the second half like that. And then on fourth and inches, we're running a wildcat with Gus Edwards, and y'all know I rock with Gus Edwards, but us doing that made zero sense. It was fourth and inches, and Lamar Jackson's the greatest dual threat quarterback of all time. Even if we plan on giving it to Gus, which I'm cool with, us doing it like that was unnecessary. We were much better off just putting Gus Edwards in a just putting everybody in a normal formation, having Lamar under center, and just handing it off to Gus. Like we would have been better off. As a matter of fact, I think they did that later in the game on fourth down, and it worked just fine. So I didn't understand the point of that. I was definitely disappointed that there were a couple of first downs that Harbaugh didn't challenge, like the one where Lamar on 3rd and 3 extended out, and then the one where Nelson Aguilar he caught it. and then clearly passed the first down marker. But again, according to Harbaugh, he's saying that from their angle on the field, they couldn't spot it. So I'm not gonna hold that too much against them. But again, our offense just didn't click in this game, and it was tough to see. It was frustrating to see because this was a prime time game. So this was definitely supposed to be one of the moments where we just really just put the whole nation on notice of what we are capable of, and we really just didn't do that. We really didn't do that in this game. Like at least not offensively. Like the defense gave us four turnover opportunities. Well, one of them was like a interception at halftime, so I'm not really gonna count that, but still, we got three fumbles in that game. We made Herbert fumble three times, and we just didn't score. We didn't capitalize on it. Now I don't think the offense is gonna fall into that habit too much, obviously, especially with everything we got on the line. But that's still definitely concerning to see. But as far as on the defensive side of the ball, I mean, the defense was lights out for 3 quarters. Essentially, they held a top eight offense. Like the Chargers' offense ranked like eighth in the NFL when it comes to points. Like one of the best passing offenses in the league. Well, at least statistically, I don't think they are, but or statistically, one of the better passing offenses in the league. We kept them to a pretty mediocre game. We until the end where Justin Herbert was forcing it to Keenan Allen by any means necessary. Before that, they really just couldn't do anything against us. PQ forced a fumble. Roquan forced a fumble. Kyle Van Noy, who I didn't even think was still that athletic, jumped up and helped tip the pass to make it incomplete. Jadaveon Clowney got a strip sack. Justin Matabike got a sack, a half sack that officially puts him at double digit sacks. From what I understand, this is like the first player since like Terrell Suggs to be able to do this for us, which is a major accomplishment. We've had a lot of solid edge rushers who just haven't been able to do that for us. Matthew Judon got close. He was at 9.5, but he couldn't get to 10. Justin Houston just last year, he was at 9.5, but he couldn't get to 10. If I'm not mistaken, Zadarius Smith also got 9.5 with us, but he couldn't get to 10. So to see Matabika get that, I was definitely proud of him being able to do that. I definitely knew that with Calais no longer being here, that was gonna leave a major opportunity for him. So I'm happy that he's living up to the hype. Jadaveon Clowney, even though this is like his ninth or 10th season, he's like having a career year for us, which it's blown my expectations out of the water. I was only expecting him to at best maybe be like a four sack kind of guy for us, but he's out here getting like I think he's at like 7.5, 8 sacks right now. Like he's on pace to get double digit sacks too. So that's definitely exciting to see. Morlet, he had like a sack late in the game that pretty much helped seal the win for us. But yeah, and yeah, man, that's really all I had to say. Like offensively, I like defensively, I think that they held their own as much as possible. But our offense just has to get back to executing the way we've been executing the past couple weeks and just blow these teams out. Because we have a good enough defense to blow these teams out. These teams are struggling to put up 10 points against us. In a day and age where these teams are better at passing than ever before, where they air the ball out ever before, where they have these high powered offenses, like these teams are struggling to get anything done against us. So we definitely gotta step it up. As far as my last thoughts, I thought Justice Hill had some good moments. Like he came out and he made the most of his opportunities. I do believe that because of the momentum Keaton Mitchell's picking up, I do believe Justice Hill, when he does get in the game, he's gonna go a lot harder and he's probably not gonna fumble from here on out because he recognizes that he's literally in the process of losing his spot. So he's definitely gonna want to, just try to get in where he fits in. So I do believe that'll a lot. I think that'll kind of motivate him to make the most of his opportunity whenever he's in there. Speaking of Keaton Mitchell, he had a couple of good runs. He's still getting more and more involved in this offense and making some big plays and showing that burst. I was to go back to the defense real quick. I'm just glad PQ wasn't hurt because I did remember a moment in the game where Patrick Queen was the one that tackled Justin Herbert on that 35-yard run where he landed awkwardly on his shoulder. So that made me a little nervous, but he seemed to be just fine. Like he's been like our most durable player over the past like 4 or 5 years. So I'm definitely glad that the bye weeks come in so people like him and just the whole team can really get back to just playing at their full strength and getting a little rest. Because we've literally traveled the most out of any NFL team this year. We played so many away games, so to just be able to get that late bye and to be able to be 9-3, so we don't have to stress as much as some other teams. It's definitely a blessing to see. And real quick, I forgot to mention this. Like Kyle Hamilton had the game of his life. Well, I'm not gonna say the game of his life, but he had an excellent game. He balled down in prime time, showed people all the different things that he's capable of. They showed the graphic on the screen of him and all the different positions they put him at on the defense, whether it's at in the slot, whether it's in the box, or whether it's just him. So again, let me know what your thoughts are on this game in the comment section below.